Good morning, dear friends, and welcome. I'm going to quickly walk you through how to create a new database record in whatever table you want in GDK, the GitLab Development Kit. If you're new to Rails, like myself, you may find this helpful because Rails can be very confusing sometimes. So yeah, that's it. You can use this for whatever purposes you want. I don't care why you're creating entries in your local database. Anyway, I'm currently working on adding EPSS data to GitLab, and I want to test whether my GraphQL queries work. Now, in order to do that, I need to have data. So I have this query over here, and I've got some results over here, and I see that there is some null results here, and I want to populate them. So let's do exactly that. Now, my query accesses the EPSS table in the GitLab database. I already added this table, and how to do that is not part of this tutorial. But let's go have a look at how this looks. In order to communicate with the GitLab database, Rails uses something called models. Those models are just application record objects, and we use them to interact with the tables that we create. So this is my model used to interact with a PM EPSS table that contains my data. And I want to query this table, and I want to add the data that I want to add into this table. So what's the best way to do that? We use something called FactoryBot in order to create data. So what you can do is create a new factory for your model, like I've done right here for EPSS data. It contains all of the columns that I want to have or have in my model. And I can use this little object to create those entries. The values that are actually defined here are the default values when I create this object. So we have our table, and we have the FactoryBot object for this table. How do we actually use it to create the entries that we want? We just have to go to the Rails console. Let's quickly run that. If you're running on Gitpod, or if you're running on a workspace, or if you're running locally, generally you just have to run bundle exec Rails console, and that will open the Rails console for you to interact with Rails. Now, to actually create the data that we want, we're going to use create. I'm going to quickly copy this CVE name from here, and I'm going to use that to create the relevant EPSS entry. So here's what we do. We're going to use FactoryBot, and we're going to use create. We're going to choose the specific factory that we want to use. In our case, this would be PM EPSS. That's the one that we want. Let's go back to the console. It's over here. I will not get lost. So we want to use PM EPSS. Then we could stop here and just press enter, and we will have an entry created with the default values, but I don't want that right now. I want to create an entry for my specific CVE. So I'm going to specify the CVE, and I'll specify a score too, let's say 0.5. And I press enter, and that's it. The entry is created. And we can see this reflected if we run this query again. We see that here it's null. Let's try it again. And now it's not null. Wow. We have created an entry in the database. That's beautiful. Wow. I love it. Amazing. We did it. Okay. So to summarize, first we need to identify the model into which we want to add our data. In our case, it's EPSS. Then we identify the relevant factory, or we create the relevant factory. And then we use this factory in the Rails console to create our object. And that's it. Very quick, very easy. I hope this is helpful. We did a great job. You all did amazing. I will see you another time. Bye-bye.